fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Heather D. Tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Brandon Coverman. We're your hosts. Thanks for joining us. Back in our sound room, you know who it is. It's TK and Heavy D. We'll be joining them a little bit later in the show. And Kobe, you're in Ken's seat for one more week. It's been a lot of fun having you last week and this week again.
Yeah, it's nice to be in this seat, but it'll be good to go back to the old comfortable Studio R next week. So I'm really excited, looking forward to that, to being back in my home.
Well, lots to talk about this week in the wide world of sports, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about from cross country and football, and we're going to have a really good interview tonight. I'm really looking forward to that with Ryan Gutman.
Yeah, coming up in the second half of the show, his cross-country program over there, both the boys and girls just doing extremely well. His boys are ranked number 9 in Ohio. First time they've been in the top 10 since way back in 2001, so can't wait to talk to him in the second half of the show. Well, let's get things started. And last week, Kobe, started talking about football. I kind of opened the floor to you, and you just kind of talked about your thoughts about football in general. Today, I want to do a little bit differently. Maybe ask you about some games. You know, we're in week 3 right now, so the MAC schedule, the conference schedule has gotten underway. Going to maybe talk a little CCC, but maybe ask you about some games that I'm interested in and get your thoughts on them, if that's okay with you.
That sounds great.
All right, well, let's get things started. And one game I want to talk about in particular, over in the MAC, New Bremen at 2-0 is going to be traveling to Anna at 2-0. But your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm actually going to be calling that game, so I'm actually looking really forward to the matchup. 2-0 teams that have gone through the non-conference well. Anna beating Bishop Fenwick and Brookville last week, and New Bremen beating Ada and Ansonia. This will be a good clash. The big thing to look forward to with New Bremen is that Nolan Barhorst was their quarterback last year, has now shifted over to running back and H-back. Mitchell Hayes taking over the quarterback position there for Coach Chris Schmidt. He's done an excellent job there. Like I said, his team should have been in the playoffs last year, but this would be a huge win in playoff momentum for them, sitting in Division 7 if they could go forward there. I ultimately think you look on the other side of the ball, the Anna Rockets, very talented team. I talked about last week in their option attack. They had a close game with Brookville until halftime, and Anna scored the last 5 touchdowns, so they can pile points on there in a hurry. They've always had a very stout line there. But I like Anna in this one on their home turf by about 2 touchdowns.
All right, and you're calling that game for our partners over at NK Telco, so
Yep.
fans can tune in for that a little bit after that game is completed, I think.
Yep.
All right, well, let's jump ahead to our next game, and it's Versailles at 1-1. Had a big 48-0 shutout last week against Delphus Jefferson. They travel to Coldwater, who is 2-0 right now. Tell me this, is Ryan Jones the new Al Hetrick over at Versailles?
Well, that's a lot to say, but getting in the right direction. They only lost to Salina by 1. You know, Salina always a quality opponent to play when you're a couple divisions ahead. But Coach Jones certainly, he has a big task in changing that culture over there with the transition from Adam Miller. So I think they kind of want to. Versailles is a very 3 yards on a cloud of dust type team, a very run-heavy offense. I haven't got the chance to see them play yet, so I don't know if they're running a spread, so to speak. You saw Laramie switch to that last year. I don't know if that's what Versailles is doing, but I know they've got a lot of good athletes coming up in the younger grades. I've known from baseball and from just the talk I've heard from people around the Versailles area. So Versailles has only had 1 playoff appearance since 2014, and that's not the Versailles tradition we know. But I think Coach Ryan Jones has a big task ahead, like I just said. And I don't think Coldwater is going to be the team that they're going to be able to beat Friday. This is a good team. Coach Otten hasn't been to a state finals the last 2 years, which he had a run of 7 years in a row, which he was in the state finals there. Coldwater looks geared for a big run here. I think they might be one of the favorites in their division. Quarterback Jake Hemmelgarn over there. I think will man the offense, and I think Coldwater wins by about 2 touchdowns.
All right. Speaking of favorites in the MAC, next game I want to talk about Marion Local at 1-1. I don't know if you're surprised at that, but going over to Parkway, who's 2-0 for the first time since 2008. Dare I say, are the Flyers underdogs in this one?
I wouldn't say they're quite underdogs. Parkway has gotten off to an impressive start. They did beat Conway Crestview, who was a team in the regional finals last year that fell to Laramie. So Parkway is off to an impressive start. Marion Local traveling 1-1. You say 1-1, you think and you panic there for a moment, but you look at the team that Marion went and played. They went and traveled to Columbus, played Bishop Watterson, a Division III school that actually Bobby Hoying's son was the quarterback of that team. So of course there's some MAC blood in that game, a reason to go there and play Bishop Watterson. Lost 31-7, but I heard there were a few turnovers in that game that could have made that game within a touchdown or so. You know how Coach Goodwin does it with his guys. They'll play hot at the right time. And he was even looking on our Partners Press Pros magazine. Tim Beckman, the former coach at St. Henry, was saying there's a lot of talent over there in Maria Stein, and he can recognize that and sees that Coach Goodwin will have them playing on all cylinders by the time the playoffs roll around. I think they open the MAC conference slate with about a 3-touchdown win over the Panthers.
All right, let's jump from the MAC to the CCC. One more game I want to talk about, and that, of course, is the Fort Laramie Redskins. They go over and play Miami East. Both those teams at 1-1 right now. Is Fort Laramie finally healthy, and who has the advantage in this one?
Yeah, Fort Laramie, definitely. I'm going to have to say this right here. Colin Moore is probably the best quarterback in the area. I failed to mention last week against Minster. He threw for over 300 yards, a junior quarterback, against a solid Minster team in week 1, and you come out firing on all cylinders. That's something that Coach Wells has at his disposal. He has good athletes in there like Damon Mesher over there, and I think they open the CCC slate with a win over Miami East by about 10 points or so. And you really look, these first 2 games are so important for Laramie if they want a piece of the league title. They got Miami East, and then they've got Covington. Miami East is coming off a good win over Lehman, 31-17. But I ultimately think that it's Laramie's game to lose, Laramie's league to lose. Like I've said, I think they'll end up 9-1 this year.
All right, well, it's exciting stuff, that's for sure. Glad we're finally getting to conference play. That always ramps things up a gear, I guess you say, but lots of fun there. Looking forward to Friday night. Yeah, I know you said you're calling that New Bremen and a game. You're also calling in about an hour here. You're calling a volleyball game, and that's the Houston Wildcats visiting over here our Russia Raiders. We'll get you out of here in time for that to get over to Claire C. Nouveau Gymnasium. But let's talk a little volleyball. What's your thoughts on that game in particular?
In that game in particular, I'm going to be anxious to see how the Russia Raiders are going with their young core. We've been talking about their young core all season with Coach Watkins. Passing expectations over there is his new motto this year. And I think that really that the Raiders are starting to get there. I think their freshmen are starting to really develop there. And they got a test against Houston tonight. They're sitting pretty similar record, or they're actually same record at 4-6. So this is the point in the season where you need to see that growth from Coach Watkins. You aren't an excuse that you're early in the season. You're at the midway point. Tournament draw coming up here in the horizon. So it'll be a good matchup, a good test for the Raiders when they go. I think they play Anna next week, Jackson Center again next Tuesday. That's a huge home game. Hopefully we'll be calling that one too and talk about the results on our show next week. Yeah,
Houston with a victory a little earlier this week against Fairlawn, 3-2 in that one. So it should be a good matchup there Thursday at the CCN. You'll be calling that tonight, so we're looking forward to hearing you on air for that one. Let's look at those standings, though, see what else is going on tonight in SCAL volleyball and see where everyone's sitting right now.
Yeah, you look there, Fort Laramie ranked number 3 in the state behind New Bremen and St. Henry, who are actually playing in an hour or two. That'll be a game on NK Toko as well. Dave Kanapke, Greg Burning calling that game. It's going to be a great game. But you look at Laramie, they're sitting there 9-1. I do believe they have a big contest coming up with the Marion Local Flyers. It's been a little inconsistent, but they're still a really good ball club. And Anna's sitting over there at 7-4 overall, 4-1 in the league. I think them and Russia are going to be a really good matchup. You have Jackson sitting there at 2-3, Fairlawn 1-4, and Houston and Botkins 1-4 as well.
All right, good stuff with that as well, and lots of volleyball action going on. That's starting to get in the middle of things. Things are starting to take shape as far as the standings go. So I'll tell you what, let's take a short break. Lots to process here in the first half of the show, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some more fall sports, including a cross-country interview with Botkins coach Ryan Gutman.
Open stage at the Leaping Van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. A teacher cat and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, looking for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. Yeah, we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking a little football, a little volleyball, Kobe. Going to talk a little cross country now. And our next guest was actually a guest on this show way back in 2013. Hard to believe it's been that long. At one time, he even sat in your chair there and co-hosted FRL, I think back probably before you were born. But he's the longtime cross-country and track and field coach over at Botkins for the Trojan program over there. We welcome to the show once again, Ryan Gutman. Coach, happy to have you back.
Hey, guys, it's great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, and good to talk to you. You know, Coach, you run both the boys and girls programs over there, as we just mentioned. Your boys right now ranked number 9 in Ohio. The last I checked, that's the first time you've been in the top 10, I believe, since way back in 2001. I was actually told this week, too, your junior high program hasn't been beat in the Shelby County, or since the Shelby County preview back in 2016. That's pretty amazing. How do you manage to run all these programs and be so successful at the same time?
Well, I tell you, we actually won the Shelby County preview that year. It was the Bob Scholl meet that we lost that year.
My apologies.
So, yeah, no, that was a big meet. We got third that meet. But, yeah, it's definitely been a couple of really good years. The kids have been successful, and they like the way that feels. The junior high girls are getting into the action also. They just won a meet last night at the Laker Invitational. You know, that they get that feeling of success. They like how that feels, and they're just striving to get better. They want to continue, what they've started. But I'll tell you, overseeing the program is definitely more than a one-man job. Fred Schmerge, who coaches with me, he's the best sidekick I could ask for, and we really work well together. We give the kids the same message, and we've been together for a long time, so I think that consistency that the kids hear from us has really helped.
One reason I know you're so successful and one reason you get the numbers you do is because you make running fun. And one of the example of that is, there's this Shelby County Bicentennial thing's been going on all year. They've been celebrating the Shelby County Bicentennial. And you did something over there with your cross-country program to help celebrate that. Can you tell us what that was about a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I think you're referring to the Bicentennial flag that's been passed around from community to community. Yeah. My mother-in-law is actually a member of the Botkins Historical Society, and she asked if the cross-country team would find a way to get the flag from Jackson Center back to Botkins. And since I've run to Jackson Center numerous times on my Sunday long runs, I knew a pretty route that we could take, and I was confident that we could get a bunch of kids to help out. So basically, we just boarded a bus. We headed to Jackson Center. I think it was on a Sunday. We picked up the flag at their parade, and then we just took turns running the flag back to Botkins while the other kids were on the bus. And it got to be more of a competition on the way back where kids were seeing if they could make it more than a mile at a time or 2 miles at a time. And so groups of kids were running. It was kind of like the scene from Forrest Gump when Forrest had all these runners behind him. So it was a really fun day.
Hi, Coach. This is Brandon Coverman. Your high school boys team, you're 65-4. You've won the preview. You've won the Spencerville Bearcat Invite, so 2 impressive wins there. And I noticed that you only have one senior on your team in Elliot Gubo, and other guys leading you are sophomore Colin Watterson and junior Alan Fullenkamp. What do you like about this group?
Well, this group actually was the one that started the junior high boys' success way back in 2016. So they work so hard, and it starts in the summertime. I mean, these kids, plus Donovan Brown, Keaton Schnipple, R.J. Poppelman, I mean, they've all logged over 360 miles in the summertime. Alan Fullenkamp actually ran 500 miles this summer. And plus, they're all so talented. And I try to tell the kids that when talent meets hard work, something special is going to happen. And I think it's pretty clear that that's what's going on right now. There were a lot of kids that run summer miles. Gosh, so many people in town have stopped me and just commented on the number of kids they've seen running in the summertime. So I really think that core group of junior high boys way back in 2016, their work ethic is just really worn off on the other kids.
And with how young your boys' team is, your girls' team's also young as well, but they have no seniors. But the one leading them over there is a junior by the name of Emma Koenig. And I know she's been really impressive this year. I believe she won the preview. What kind of potential does she have, Coach?
Well, Emma is part of that same group. I mean, she's all in that same class. They're all juniors now they work very hard. And I'm just telling you, it is hard to imagine someone more dedicated to every single phase of running, whether it be the workouts, the stretching, eating right. Emma does it all, and she's just really a true leader. And the neat thing about her, she constantly changes her potential. Because she works so hard, her ceiling just keeps getting higher and higher and higher.
You're over at Eaton this Saturday, and I tell you what, for the brief cross-country experience I had, I remember running at that course, so I know what it's like. And so what are you looking forward to this Saturday at Eaton at this invite?
Well, to me, it's one of the few true cross-country courses that we get to run. I mean, there's woods, there's rivers, there's bridges. It's a true cross-country course the way I kind of remember it when I ran in the 90s. But also we get to see different competition, and that's always nice. I think when kids run against the same competition over and over again, they kind of fall into a pecking order. Like they think they should always be behind this person because they're from Russia or Anna or whatever the case may be. So I'm hoping it helps them break out of any shell that they put themselves in by running against the same competition for so many weeks. And plus the weather's supposed to be a lot cooler. It's been a real scorcher this week.
Hey, Coach, this is Craig again. And you know, I wanted to tell you, when you were talking about some of those talented boys on your team and Emma Koenig, and you know, I couldn't help but think of a couple of our past guests on the show by the name of Austin Jones and Chloe Flora, a couple good runners. I know you coached going back a few years now, but they were exceptionally talented as well. And it seems like some of these kids today might be following in those same footsteps.
Well, the great thing about those two kids, thanks, Craig, for bringing those two kids up, is I was quoted in the Sydney Daily News about Chloe Flora when she was going through the program, and basically I said her true greatness isn't going to be felt now; it'll be felt years from now. And I really think that's what we're seeing. I mean, Emma and all these junior high boys with Austin Jones. I mean, our high school boys, they were all in junior high or even younger when they were going through, and they would go to the state meet to watch them run. And those were two kids that were just so nice and so, like, they carried the flag of Botkins cross country. And when your best runners are your hardest workers, man, those are great salesmen to have for your program.
Coach, I couldn't agree with you more. And if Ken was here right now, one thing he always likes to say is success breeds success. And I think we're seeing a perfect example of that over there in your program right now. Hey, listen, before we let you go, I can't let you go without talking to you about something that's near and dear to my heart, and I think your heart as well, and that's the Cleveland Browns. I know you're a big Browns fan like I am, and I have to ask you about last week, week one. Were we overhyped or what?
So I'm going to answer your question with a score 34-10. I don't know if that rings a bell to you, but that's what New England lost by to Tennessee last year. Now, New England's year turned out pretty well last year. You know, they won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl, but all we have is hope. So I hope we're not overhyped. That's all I can say. So, you know, when they lose, my Sundays don't go as well as they should.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
And this Sunday they don't even play, so they play Monday night. So this Sunday's going to be good no matter what.
All right. Well, I got new energy now. You gave me that 34-10 score. I got new energy. I'm glad I asked you that question. So.
Yep.
Well, listen,
go Browns, yeah.
Yeah, listen, Coach, I'm going to let you go here. Best of luck this Saturday over at Eaton, the rest of this season. And thanks for joining us on the show. Next time we won't wait so long to bring you back. Yeah,
I always appreciate talking to you guys. I love how you get high school kids' names out there. It's a great benefit to a bunch of communities, so thanks.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
That was the head coach of the Botkins Trojans over there, Ryan Gutman. I also want to say special thanks to a teacher over at Botkins by the name of Jeremy Plyman. And Jeremy, along with being a teacher, is I think he's the media relations guy for Trojans Athletics, whatever you want to call him, whatever he is over there. He's the best media guy, Covey, that I've ever dealt with personally. We've did some games over there, some boys and girls basketball games, cross country, whatever it is. Jeremy will help you out with anything you ask.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's been a massive help for me when I've done games. You know, doing games, you don't know how much work it goes into behind the pregame. There's a lot of work getting stats, trying to get players' names. It's a huge help when someone in the athletic department steps up and gives you those stats because you don't have access to them. That is a huge help out there. So for anyone knowing that, it helps out announcers a lot. So, and yeah, thanks to what Jeremy does over there. I hope he continues it because it's awesome what Botkins has got going on over there.
Yeah, he's a good guy, no doubt about that. Well, let's head back to the sound room and check in with TK and Heavy D. Guys, happy Thursday to you.
Good to be here. Here we go.
Yeah, where we go. We got some sound now. TK, the star of the week is something we always look forward to. Lots going on in sports. Lots going on today. We don't have time to talk about everything. I know we had a big SCAL golf match that we didn't get to today, but we'll get to it next week. We'll start talking about some postseason stuff. But what do you got for us on a star of the week?
Star of the week, I'm going to look at Shelby County soccer.
We didn't talk about soccer either. We didn't get to that.
There's not a lot out there. I know there's not a lot of soccer out there. And actually, I'm not even sure there's Shelby County soccer. There's WOSL, which we've got the girls, Botkins and Anna in that, and a couple, 3 teams for the boys' side. But regardless, there are some stars out there. And I want to talk about one of the Rocket Soccer chicks. That would be Taylor Kaufman. She was on the front page yesterday of the Fish Report, and I assume all of our listeners saw that, where she scored 5 goals in a big win over Greenfield. She's leading her Rocket Soccer chicks to a 6-0 and 3-0 league record. Senior forward, just playing a heck of a game this year. Tonight, big rivalry with Lehman, who is in that WSL. Always a good game between Lehman and Anna. Always battled out, very close, always a 1-2 point game, a lot of action. So if you like soccer, if you're still not too late, run out to that game. But again, Taylor Kaufman, senior forward from Anna, just having an outstanding year leading those Rockets. So she is my player of the week this week.
Well, and you mentioned Rocket Soccer Chicks. I know why you mentioned that because that's a Twitter handle.
Yes, it is.
And that's the best. If you want to follow Anna Rocket Soccer, that's the Twitter handle to follow. And they got some pretty cool decals as well. I saw.
They do too. They should be selling shirts and stickers and flags, all sorts of stuff. They got it going on.
Well, TK, if you have any pull, we could use one of those decals. It might look good right back here on the Fish Report wall.
Up there.
We'll work on. I'll find out who does their graphics. That's a good thing.
All right. Well, Heavy D, we fired out a warning shot last week on the Ask Heavy D at fishreportonline.com. And there it is right there. Did you get anything in the mailbag this week?
We did. We got a couple hits on that. And I'm going to go to Fort Laramie, Ohio. Young lady named Erica. And let me pull this up. She says, Dear Heavy, who in your opinion is the greatest athlete of all time? The GOAT, as kids call it these days.
All time, wow.
You know, a lot of great athletes over the decades, all around the world. And one that I grew up watching and kind of emulated in my basketball career, kind of. But what Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, 6-time all-time NBA championship, 2 gold medals, averaged over 30 points in his career in the NBA. As a freshman, led the Tar Heels to NCAA championship. 10-time scoring leader, 2-time slam dunk leader.
Played with Dennis Rodman.
Played with Dennis Rodman, and he even played baseball for the White Sox in Double-A. The only reason they didn't win 7 in a row is he took a year off midstream to swing the bat. So
and he played golf too.
And he played golf, and he bet a lot of money. But the MJ is my pick for who I would consider the greatest athlete of all time, and he did it the right way, I think. You know, you got.
Well, I think a lot of people would agree with you on that, Heavy D. Now, you did say you emulated his game. I've never seen you dunk. I know he was a pretty good dunker, as you mentioned, a couple times slam dunk champion. But
I wasn't bad on about a 7-foot rim in the garage.
Okay, that makes sense.
I also got another shout out to a group of local kids who've got a YouTube video or YouTube page up. A Kids, that's one word, A Kids, space Friends. A Kids, Friends. Check them out. You might be impressed.
Are these kids you know?
Kids from the area.
Kids from the area.
Yeah.
Any idea what these kids are doing? Is it legal?
It's legal. Tricks with balls, ping pong balls, trick shots, that kind of stuff. A lot of sleight of hand.
Wow. Yeah. Well, as soon as we close this show, I'm going to be getting on YouTube and checking it out.
A Kids, Friends.
All right. Great stuff, guys, and thanks for that. Always appreciate it. You got a volleyball game to get to.
Yeah, I better get there so we can call it. It'll be a good matchup, so I'm looking forward to it. My first time actually doing play-by-play in volleyball. Looks like Tim's passing me the torch for the night.
All right, well, we'll definitely tune in for that. And we do want to say special thanks again to our guest, Coach Gutman, for joining us on the show. Kobe and I and the crew, including Ken, will all be back again next week here. Same time, same place. Until then, have a great week, everyone.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole when you tune in to the fishing pond. Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging